At Queen Elizabeth School in Kirkby Lonsdale in Cumbria, teachers and pupils have been using a VLE called Moodle for a couple of years now. We'll see how it's used to teach English, food technology, physics, and in the school's reading club.
Okay, so what we're doing is looking at Act 3 of the Jacobean revenge tragedy "'Tis Pity She's a Whore", and I've set up a series of discussion forums, each one of which covers a particular theme of Act 3. I've got a Year 12 English Literature A-level class, and I just said that I didn't know anything about it much, so I was going to be experimenting, that they were there to help me do that, and that if at any stage they had suggestions of things that I could do that they thought would be of benefit, then we'd have that kind of open relationship about it. And with a class at that kind of level, it's really fun to have them make their comments and to sort of explore some of the challenges of the new medium together.
The students' postings on the site form the basis of the class discussion.
And I think that once he's done that, since it's a private matter between two individuals, he is then free to make her life better. And
Yes.
the way he sees he can do that is by having her married off.
I think it's going really well. I'm really excited by it. I'm not just sure they're as quite as excited as me. They probably take it more for granted. I mean, at the end of the day, it ends up being homework for them, and I have to acknowledge that. For me, it's looking at inventive new ways of doing things which I've probably always done as a teacher of literature, but I've always felt that there were probably ways in which it could be done better. Because I've only read this very, very quickly late last night, but I was quite struck by, because that's when it was posted, of course, late last night. But I was quite struck by the comment you made about not thinking that characters are necessarily evil.
Well, with English it is really helpful because there's a lot of discussions of ideas, and when you're at home and you're trying to do an essay, you can read through other people's ideas and thoughts and you can think, oh, I never thought of that, and then you can use that with your own work.
There are going to be some people who do like to opine more than others, and they tend to monopolise conversations and discussions. And there are always in class those students who find it much more difficult to formulate their thoughts as quickly as others, or who are just simply more shy and less forthcoming with their discussion points. And I'd always thought that if there was a possibility of using a medium which would allow people to all contribute to a discussion, that would be potentially a really powerful resource as people were working their way through a set text. Well, last point on this then, Nathan.
I mean, I think the friar does portray the Catholic Church in a very bad light. I mean, towards the end of a play, he's being deceptive, manipulative, he's being very desperate and rather selfish.
At the beginning, I really didn't like it, and it was scary, and like how to load what I've done onto it and stuff. I was a bit like, ugh. But I really like it now because there's loads of clever people in the class, and I just feel like sometimes in the class it's a bit scary to say things if it's wrong, but I just feel like on here you can put things on and it's not as much pressure almost.
We have to recognise that students spend an awful lot of time outside of school on computer. They are probably communicating with each other more than any other generation outside of school has ever done before. And if we can get that kind of inclination which they have generated into their enthusiasm for their work, so that communicating with each other and with their teacher is something which is as enjoyable as the other forms of communication they have outside of school, then I think we're onto a real winner in terms of pupil learning.